You know exactly what I'm talking about. Those sudden changes in her tone. The innocent requests that come at the worst possible time. The way she watches your reaction more than she cares about your answer. These aren't coincidences. These are tests, deliberate or instinctive, to see if your world bends to her presence, or if her presence must fit into your world. And the uncomfortable truth: most men fail without even knowing they were being tested. They think being agreeable keeps the peace, but it only tells her you are negotiable. This is why so many relationships start with passion and end with silent resentment. She didn't change, she just kept seeing proof that your mission was optional. Every yes you gave when you wanted to say no, every moment you abandoned your focus because she called your name, every time you made her mood more important than your purpose. These small cracks in your frame add up until she no longer feels safe in your leadership. And when she doesn't feel safe in your leadership, she stops following, stops admiring, and eventually stops desiring. The answer isn't to become cold or distant. The answer is to live by the Stoic principle that your mind, your focus, and your values are yours alone to govern. Marcus Aurelius said, "You have power over your mind, not outside events." Realize this, and you will find strength. Strength here means you decide what gets your time and energy, not her emotions, not her timing, not her subtle tests. It means when she pulls on your attention, you decide when and how you respond. It means when she withdraws, you don't chase, you stay centered. And most importantly, it means you stop performing for approval and start living in alignment with your mission so deeply that passing her tests becomes automatic. Because here's the ultimate win. When you live this way, you don't just pass her tests, you stop attracting them. She sees in you a man who can't be moved by small manipulations, a man whose life has order and gravity, and she adjusts herself to be part of it instead of trying to control it. And when you can live like that, you don't just win with women, you win in every arena of life. Number 1, she tests without words. She doesn't need to say a thing because every man who's been around women long enough knows that the deepest tests come without warning, without announcements, without any direct confrontation. And in those moments, your reaction reveals more about your nature than any speech you could give. She observes you when you're not trying to impress her, when you're in your most natural state, when you are talking to someone else, when you're scrolling your phone, when you're preparing for work, when you think the day is calm and safe, and she will subtly change the energy, withdraw a smile, change the way she responds to your words, or even say nothing at all just to see if you notice, and more importantly, if you will start dancing for her attention without being asked. Because the man who changes his tone, speeds up his talking, becomes more animated, or alters his natural behavior simply to fill the gap of her quiet is already losing ground, already signaling that his emotional stability depends on her feedback. And here's the part most men won't accept. You are teaching her in that moment whether you can stand on your own in life or whether you are dependent on her mood for your sense of worth. So if you want to pass this test, you must learn to live and move as though you are being watched at all times, not in a paranoid way, but in the way a king walks through his own court, calm, unshaken, and not adjusting his crown because someone looked at him differently. And the solution is not to try to be unbothered in an artificial way, but to genuinely train yourself to stop chasing approval like a drug. And that begins with mastering your own daily habits. Start your day with work that matters before you check your phone. Speak slowly and deliberately no matter who is in front of you. Spend time alone without feeling the itch to be validated. And most importantly, stop rewarding withdrawal of affection with overcompensation, because in her subconscious, she will record that she can control your energy with minimal effort. And over time, this erodes the magnetic pull she once felt for you. But when you hold steady, when you remain rooted in your focus and let her come to you, instead of chasing her when she pulls back, you communicate at a primal level that you are not a man to be moved by invisible strings. And this is what creates a shift where she starts to calibrate to your energy instead of you adjusting to hers. And when you live this principle consistently, not just with her, but with everyone in your life, people begin to realize they cannot pull you into their emotional storms at will. They start treating you with a quiet respect, and you stop living in reaction to moods you didn't create, which is the first step to building a life where you lead instead of follow, command instead of obey, and inspire instead of chase. Because the truth is that every time you pass one of these silent tests, you are not just keeping her respect, you are training yourself to stay in control of your life no matter who is watching. And if you're ready to make this shift permanent, not just in theory but in every choice you make, I've laid it all out step by step in the Stoic Relationship Blueprint, linked in the comments. This is a complete framework for becoming the man whose presence commands respect without saying a word, the man who never wonders if he's doing it right, because his standards never change. Once you have it, it's yours forever. A lifetime of principles, strategies, and real-world examples you can return to anytime you feel yourself slipping. Ask yourself, what would it be worth to never again question your place in her eyes? To know with absolute certainty that you can keep her respect for decades, not months. That answer is why this blueprint exists, and why it belongs in your hands before another test catches you off guard. Number 2, her timing is surgical. She does not interrupt you randomly because randomness would not reveal much about you. She waits for the exact moment when you are locked in, when your mind is engaged, when you are writing, creating, solving a problem, planning your next move, and she comes to you with something that on the surface looks small, harmless, easy to say yes to. But the truth is, the size of the request is irrelevant. It's the timing that matters, because timing reveals your hierarchy of values. And she wants to see if you will drop your mission for her convenience. Because in her instincts, a man who abandons his work the second she appears is a man who will abandon his role when life gets hard. And in that instant, she is not consciously thinking about betrayal or weakness, but her deeper programming is registering whether your focus belongs to you or whether it belongs to the last voice that calls your name. And most men fail because they confuse being helpful with being dependable, thinking that saying yes instantly shows love, when in reality it shows that your discipline can be bought for the price of a smile. So if you want to win here, you must train yourself to defend your focus as fiercely as you would defend your home. You must stop seeing every request as an emergency. You must create a personal law that unless it is urgent or life-changing, it waits until you decide. And this doesn't mean being cold or dismissive. It means making her, and everyone else, understand that your time is structured and your mission is real. And that starts by practicing in the small things. When someone interrupts you, calmly say you'll handle it after you finish your current task. When you are working, silence your phone and make yourself unreachable for blocks of time. When you agree to help, do it on a schedule you set instead of on demand. And you'll notice something. People start planning around you instead of expecting you to drop everything for them. And in her mind, this translates to leadership, because leaders are not pulled from their path by minor requests. Leaders decide, leaders finish what they start, and leaders are predictable in their priorities. And the reason this is so attractive is because it proves you can hold a boundary without losing composure, that you can put your mission above momentary emotion. And this is where most men fail, because they think leadership is about always being available, when in reality it's about being reliable in your standards. So when you master this, her respect deepens, her testing changes from, will he drop everything for me, to, I can trust him to lead because he finishes what he starts. And this one shift transforms the power dynamic in ways you can't imagine, because it moves you from the category of men who can be distracted to the category of men who set the pace of life for everyone around them. And that's when she stops trying to pull you away from your mission and starts wanting to be part of it. Number 3, attention is the throne. Your attention is the seat of your authority, the center of your influence, and the foundation of every result you produce in your life. And yet most men give it away like loose change, scattering it on whoever shouts the loudest or pulls the hardest, never realizing that every time they do this, they are dethroning themselves and placing someone else in control. Because where your attention goes, your energy follows, and where your energy goes, your life is built or destroyed. And women, whether consciously or instinctively, know this truth better than most men, which is why some of the most revealing tests are aimed not at your strength or intelligence, but at your focus. Because the man who cannot hold his attention on what matters will always be at the mercy of whoever can distract him. And here is the brutal truth. If she can redirect your focus with ease, she will quietly lose faith in your ability to lead, not because she wants you to fail, but because in her deeper psychology, a man who is led by impulse is unsafe to trust in the long term. So she will check, she will experiment, she will step into your mental space with a request or a question, or even just a shift in her tone. And if you are too quick to drop what you are doing, to pivot all your attention to her, you teach her that she can unseat you without consequence. And over time, this becomes not just a relational dynamic, but a habit in you, a habit of surrendering your focus at the slightest disruption. And this is where men ruin not just their relationships, but their careers, their fitness, their ambitions, because they live like their focus is public property. But if you want to reverse this and claim back your throne, you must start with ruthless self-discipline. You must decide that your attention is sacred and that nothing short of true urgency gets to pull you from it. You must train yourself to finish what you start, even when people are waiting, to delay response until you choose to give it, and to create clear, visible boundaries around your time. Because when she sees that you are not reachable for trivialities, that your focus is not for sale, she begins to experience something most women rarely encounter in modern men: true authority. And this is not about arrogance or ego. This is about building a reality where you decide the rhythm and direction of your life. Because a man who guards his attention is a man who can lead himself and others. A man who does not check his phone every 5 minutes, but instead invests that time in building something lasting. A man who is not pulled into gossip, petty drama, or emotional manipulation because he is too busy creating, learning, and executing. And in this kind of man, there is an unshakable stability that people feel instantly. They stop throwing distractions at him because they know it won't work. And the more you live like this, the more your entire environment bends to the gravity of your focus. And she too will either rise to match that standard or remove herself, both of which serve you, because you are no longer playing the exhausting game of constantly proving yourself. You are simply building your kingdom and allowing the right people to join it. Number 4, compliance kills desire. Every time you say yes when you mean no, every time you agree to something just to keep the peace, every time you bend your plans, your values, or your standards just to avoid conflict or win a moment of affection, you are not being kind. You are being compliant. And compliance is the quietest, fastest, most efficient killer of desire there is. Because while the world will praise you for being agreeable, inside the people closest to you will start to feel that you are too easily shaped, too willing to trade your direction for approval. And nothing robs a woman of attraction faster than realizing that your backbone only exists when it's convenient. So she will test this in small ways at first, asking for things that contradict what you've already said you were going to do, suggesting changes to plans you've made, watching to see if you will shift without hesitation. And when you do, she will thank you, smile, maybe even reward you in the short term. But underneath, something shifts, something cools, because she now knows she can alter your path with minimal resistance. And the more she knows this, the less she can feel that primal respect that keeps attraction alive. And this isn't about playing games or withholding kindness. It's about living by your own compass so strongly that people feel it in your presence. And that means when you say no, you hold it. When you have a plan, you execute it. And when someone asks you to go against your priorities for no good reason, you decline without guilt. Because if you live your life trying to avoid every ripple of conflict, you'll end up in a stagnant pond where nothing grows, and in that still water respect dies. And for the man who wants to reverse this, the first step is to stop lying to yourself about your motives. Be honest when you say yes. Ask yourself if you're doing it because it's right or because you're afraid to lose favor. And if it's the latter, learn to choose discomfort over dishonor, because momentary tension is nothing compared to the long, slow erosion of self-respect. And the irony is that when you do this, when you stop bending for every request, the right people begin to admire you more. They trust you more. They feel safer around you because they know your word means something. And women in particular respond to this with a level of attraction that cannot be faked, because deep down, they crave a man who cannot be moved from his purpose by anything less than necessity. So if you want desire to live, stop trying to please at all costs and start living in a way that pleases you first, because in that strength, in that self-loyalty, is the magnetism that no charm or flattery can replace. Number 5, she wants to trust your spine. A woman does not wake up in the morning thinking about how to undermine you, but she will, at different points, create scenarios where the strength of your backbone is revealed in full, because her deepest instinct is to feel safe with you, and safety is not measured in comfort alone. It is measured in whether she believes you will stand firm when life throws its weight against you, and that means she will, consciously or unconsciously, push against your boundaries, not because she wants you to fail, but because she needs to know whether those boundaries actually exist when tested. And here is where so many men destroy themselves. They confuse keeping her happy with keeping her trust. They think that bending to her mood is leadership, when in reality it is the clearest sign of weakness. Because when your decisions change based on the tone of her voice or the look in her eyes, you have already shown that your compass is for sale. And once she sees that, once she knows that the smallest emotional pull can make you reverse course, she will stop relying on you to lead and start feeling like she must take control herself. And here's the part most men miss. She doesn't actually want that role. She may take it, she may even excel at it in certain areas, but her respect and her desire for you erode when she feels she has to be the one holding the line. So the solution is not to become cold or dismissive. The solution is to become immovable in your principles, to have a code of conduct for your life that does not bend for short-term peace, to decide in advance what matters most to you, and to commit to it so fully that even her most calculated tests are met with calm, unwavering decisions. And this is not about being stubborn for the sake of it. It is about being anchored in something bigger than her approval. Because when you live this way, you give her something far more valuable than constant agreement. You give her the assurance that when the storms come, you will not abandon the ship. And that is when her testing shifts from, "Can I push him off his path?" to, "I trust him to keep us on course no matter what." And the irony is that when she feels this kind of trust, her challenges often decrease because the question has been answered. So if you want to pass this test, start now by making small but firm decisions in your daily life and keeping them, whether it's sticking to your workout despite last-minute invitations, finishing your work before indulging in leisure, or refusing to compromise your values to avoid an argument, because the man who can be trusted to keep his spine straight in the small things is the man who will keep it straight when everything is on the line, and that is the man she will respect, follow, and remain drawn to without even knowing why. Number 6. Frame is power. Your frame is the invisible boundary that defines your world, the unspoken declaration of how you see yourself and how you expect others to interact with you, and it is built not from words or threats, but from the way you move, the way you speak, the way you react, or don't react, to attempts to pull you into someone else's reality. And here is the harsh truth most men never face. If you do not hold your frame, you will live inside hers, because in every interaction there is a subtle contest over whose version of reality will dominate. And in relationships, this plays out constantly in ways most men don't even register. from how you spend your time to what topics dominate your conversations. And if you are always adjusting to her mood, her schedule, her interpretations of events, you have surrendered your frame. And once it's gone, everything else begins to slide. Your priorities, your confidence, your sense of control, until you are no longer steering your life, but simply reacting to hers. And this is why women test for frame without even needing to plan it, because it is in their nature to see if your center holds. And when it does, when you remain calm under emotional pressure, when you can listen without being pulled into defensiveness, when you can maintain your pace of speech and thought even when she raises her voice or changes the subject, you radiate an authority that words cannot fake. And the solution is to train this into every part of your life. Start with your body, because posture and breathing are the first signals of frame. Stand straight, breathe slowly, don't fidget when under scrutiny, speak in complete sentences without rushing to fill silence. Learn to say what you mean without over-explaining, and then extend this into your daily interactions by not letting anyone dictate the terms of your emotional state. Because the man who can remain rooted in his own tempo and vision in the face of emotional storms is the man whose reality others adapt to. And in a relationship, this has a magnetic pull, because it tells her, without you needing to announce it, that she cannot derail you with mood swings. She cannot pull you off course with guilt or charm. She cannot reshape you into something smaller to fit her comfort. And that is when she begins to align with your direction instead of trying to set it. And for the man who wants to reclaim his frame after losing it, the first step is to stop rushing to please, stop justifying every decision, and start practicing stillness under pressure, because in that stillness is the unspoken message that you are not here to be managed, you are here to lead. And once she feels that consistently, her attraction and respect shift in ways that are hard to describe, but impossible to ignore. Number 7. Respect before love. Respect is the foundation of all lasting attraction, the bedrock upon which any genuine connection must be built. And yet countless men make the fatal mistake of chasing love before they have earned respect, thinking that affection, warmth, and constant approval will somehow create loyalty, when in reality, love without respect is like building a castle on sand. It might look beautiful for a season, but the first wave of disappointment, the first real challenge, will wash it away, because if she does not respect you, her love is conditional, fragile, and easily redirected. And here's the truth that makes most men uncomfortable. She can love you and still betray you. She can love you and still leave you. She can love you and still lose desire for you. But she cannot truly respect you and still see you as disposable. And this is why every move you make in a relationship must be measured against the question, does this increase her respect for me, or does it decrease it? Because every compromise you make against your own principles, every time you put her emotional comfort ahead of your long-term mission, every time you allow her to override your judgment without just cause, you are taking a brick out of the wall of respect, until one day you wake up and wonder why she no longer looks at you the same, why she no longer follows your lead, why she no longer desires you in the way she once did. And the painful answer is that she has already decided you are not the man she can fully trust to lead when it matters. So the solution is not to become cold or detached. The solution is to live in such a way that your respect for yourself is so high, it demands respect from others, to set standards for your life and keep them even when it costs you short-term comfort, to say no to things that violate your priorities without apology, to deliver on what you promise consistently so your word becomes a law in your own world, and to hold others to a standard of conduct in your presence. Because when you do this, you send a message that is far more powerful than any declaration of love. You show that you are a man whose life has order, whose values have weight, whose direction is not determined by anyone else's approval. And women respond to this at a level deeper than words, because it taps into a primal understanding that a man who commands respect will also be able to protect, provide, and lead in the ways that matter most. And the irony is that when you pursue respect first, love often follows naturally and grows stronger over time because it is rooted in admiration, not just emotion. And in practice, this means you must train yourself to spot moments where your desire to be liked is about to make you betray your own boundaries and stop yourself. It means you must evaluate your daily actions and ask if they align with the man you claim to be. It means holding to your commitments in work, health, and personal growth no matter who tries to pull you away, because the moment you start compromising those things to maintain harmony in a relationship is the moment the relationship starts dying in silence. So if you want lasting connection, stop chasing love at the expense of respect and start building yourself into the kind of man whose presence naturally commands it. Because once respect is in place, everything else you want, loyalty, attraction, deep emotional connection, becomes not only possible, but sustainable. Number 8, pass her tests without trying. The ultimate position of strength in any relationship is not having to prepare for her tests, not having to analyze every interaction, not living in constant reaction to her behavior, but instead moving through life so grounded in your own values, so committed to your own mission, and so certain of who you are that any test she throws your way is passed by default, because it is not something you need to handle. It is simply something that dissolves in the presence of your consistency. And the only way to reach this point is to stop living for the approval of others entirely, to stop making your decisions based on what will keep her happy in the moment, and to start building a life where your focus, your time, your boundaries, and your discipline are already in place before any test comes. Because the truth is that the man who must think about how to respond in those moments has already lost a piece of his authority. If you are truly living in alignment with your own principles, the answer to her test is already written in your actions before she even delivers it, and this requires a radical shift in how you see yourself. It requires understanding that you are the standard in your life, not her moods, not her expectations, not her approval. And in practice, this means you must design your days with purpose. Decide what matters most to you. Build habits that reinforce your discipline and remove the need for external validation altogether. Because once you operate this way, you don't flinch when she pulls back affection. You don't derail your plans when she suddenly needs attention. You don't feel the urge to prove yourself when she withholds praise. Instead, you keep moving forward exactly as you were. And over time, this does something far more powerful than any clever response could. It rewires her perception of you. She stops seeing you as someone she can sway with emotion and starts seeing you as the man whose gravity shapes the relationship itself. And when you reach this level, the tests no longer feel like traps or games. They feel like confirmation that you are still living as you should. And the irony is that the more you live like this, the fewer tests you actually face, because she has nothing left to question. She knows that your word is final, your path is set, and your identity is untouchable. And if she aligns with it, the relationship thrives in mutual respect. And if she doesn't, you are prepared to walk away without hesitation, because you are not anchored to her. You are anchored to your mission, and that is what makes this approach so liberating. You are no longer chasing the fragile approval that rises and falls with her moods. You are building something unshakable, and the right woman will want to stand beside a man like that, not compete with him. So if you want to live this way, stop focusing on passing her tests and start focusing on living as a man who is always ready because he is always himself. And when you do, you stop playing defense in your own life and start playing offense in everything you do. And that shift changes not just your relationships, but the entire trajectory of your life. If you've listened this far, you already know the cost of not getting this right. Years of your life wasted on women who slowly lose respect for you. Relationships that start with passion, but end in quiet contempt. Waking up one day, realizing you gave away your power piece by piece. But that ends today. The Stoic Relationship Blueprint is the book every man should have been handed at 16. The hard truths no one told you, the exact steps to make her respect you for life, and the mindset to keep that respect no matter what storms come. It's linked in the comments. Once you grab it, it's yours forever. Your personal arsenal to revisit whenever life tests you. If you're ready to stop guessing and start leading, type "I'm the prize" in the comments, like this video, and subscribe so more men can find these truths and save themselves years of regret. Don't let another silent test catch you unprepared. Take the blueprint, take control, and never give your power away again.